Hello. Happy last day of February. Hey, Jen, how are you?
Good. I guess I wasn't focusing on that till you said it. So,
Sorry, I know.
oh,
I just said it on my last call, so it was right there for me to say. And we're marching right into March tomorrow, March 1st. So we thought we would continue the conversation from last week that Jen was exploring on asynchronous work and flexible work, and what more can we do, to provide opportunities for people and team members for how and when they work, and what kind of programs could we make available. And so we just kind of have a list that we thought we would generate together for you to think about. And if you're doing some of them, we would love to hear about it. So either if you're live here, you can chat about it, or you can follow up with us later. We're always interested in what firms are doing for some benefits programs, or for continuing to promote flexible work life and hybrid work, and this new way that we're working together. Jen was just teasing me. I just got back from vacation on Friday, and we were playing the game of table tennis or ping pong, and that's what we do. Is we email each other at different times when we're working, and sometimes it's irritating because it's like I just got my Jennifer list cleared up, and then there's more coming in. But gosh, it works so well when we can just work, when we can get our work done, and then figure out our collaboration times and schedule those. And so I know that was part of the whole discussion on this asynchronous work. And then we thought, what more can we do? I think maybe, Jen, we just keep on that thread. I know there's some other things we want to add in here, but let's continue the thread of what else can we do to promote flexibility. And what does that look like with how we work and when we work. And I don't know if you talked about not mandating Saturdays, which I know is always a hot topic and something Jen's a little bit passionate about. But as we're in, our peak busy season, how can we not have those mandated work periods also? And then, make sure that we're scheduling what we need to get done with the clients, or what we need to get done for team meetings, but not, requiring it around maybe times that, are preserved for family, or for health and well-being. I know I have an exercise program I go to on Saturday mornings, like that would infringe on that for me. So how do we just create those opportunities to say, how do we schedule what we need to get done, where and however we need to do that, whether we can do it virtual or hybrid, or should we try to be together for that because it would be more collaborative, and think about the client at the same time, but just continuing to look at that flexibility and promoting it. So I'm sure you've got some thoughts after my intro here, Jen.
Jeez, Tamara. What'd you do? Just unload the entire bag of
No, I got a whole bunch more in my bag here.
lightning rod flex issues onto the table. Perfect. Well, so I'm going to pick up mandatory Saturdays, and so I think Tamara and I are going to talk about time off strategies, and you could call these HR benefits or something. I don't know. I mean, in some respects, they're like HR strategies to keep from driving people away or something. So there's going to be a little bit of both, maybe, in this discussion. And so this no more mandatory work periods. The Saturday idea, I went back, Tamara, while you were saying that, and I Googled real quick, convergence coaching, no more Saturdays. And I don't know when I first started writing about it, but I found a blog 2011, certainly. We've been talking about it a long time. It frustrates the heck out of us when we see accounting and consulting firms mandating specific work periods and saying, hey, this works for us to work during this time, and this is what we've always done, and it's worked well, so you will show up and work at this time. Whether it's show up physically or show up online, doesn't matter. You're mandating a work period, which is not any time work, that's at this time work. And so when you specify that, you immediately begin operating in what I'm going to call an exclusionary environment, because there are people who can't work that Saturday. For instance, anybody who is of the Jewish faith, who is observant of the Sabbath, they can't work Saturday mornings or Saturdays at all, and until sundown. And so that becomes this awkward, okay, you're excluded. And then Tamara and I both run on Saturdays. And when we're practicing or training for a run of some kind or a race, Saturdays is frequently the long run day. So, and I just did a huge run last year. And so, sometimes that's like 18 miles. You're not getting up at 3 a.m. so you could show up online at 9 a.m. for a mandatory work period. That doesn't make sense. So you're leaving those people out. All the people that have little kids that have Saturday morning basketball and soccer and all that, then they're having to delegate that to the spouse or significant other because, well, we mandate Saturdays. That's what works best for us. And the minute you start doing that, you start like wearing your people out. And one of the things we need to do is eliminate everything in our firms that wears our people out. Mm-hmm. Find it and eliminate it, like a heat-seeking missile or something. And mandatory work periods is one of those things. Now, we have a bunch of guidance on this. We're not going to get into the details of how to, but it can completely be done. And we have tons and tons and tons of firms who took this advice from the minute we started giving it at least 12 years ago. And they've done it, and it's worked beautifully, and you just don't have to mandate it. So if you are still doing mandatory work periods, including those precious Saturdays, we beg you to stop. Now, spring busy season, probably not going to get that across the line, HR people. This is not the time to say these things. We're saying them to you.
Today is not the day to go and try.
Yeah, right. We'll wait till March 12th. I think that's a Saturday. Say it then. No. Only kidding. So under no circumstances should we bring this up right now. But as we come into summer, that's a perfect time for us to look at this before we get into the fall busy period when we commonly see these mandatory periods pop back up. So please, that's got to go. That's irritating.
And one place to look, people are like, there's still work to get done. That's always the big objection we get. How do you get all this done if you're not going to work Saturdays? I don't know. Maybe I'm going to work Tuesday night and Thursday nights, till 10 o'clock. Or I'm going to work until, 6 o'clock, have dinner with, my family, or go work out with the guys at the gym, or whatever I'm doing, and then come back and work. Or maybe I work late on Friday nights. Now, our Jewish friends, like you said, that doesn't work on Friday nights for them. That's the whole point, is we say, this is what needs to get done. I need a bigger box. This is what needs to get done. And, we got to figure out what's the time periods that we can get that done. And there is collaboration time. There is time that I need you available. There is time the client needs you available. So we have to consider that too. So that's the biggest objection we get about it. Besides, how can I help them if they're not here, which we've overcome over the last 2 years. So we're not going to address that today. So, and
I do want to say, Tamara, flexible work programs, flexible time work programs are not less work time programs, right, unless it's part-time. That's the only less work time. It's just being flexible about when the work time happens. So our workload and our capacity, our workload's never been higher, our capacity's never been lower. We're not saying don't ask for extra effort from your folks because we need it. We're just saying don't mandate the when that extra effort happens. And then you have to go watch last week's HR Huddle with Samantha and I on asynchronous work so you can totally get how that would work, because it will work. It will work for sure. And we have blogs, convergencecoaching.com/blog, context sensitive search Saturday. And there will be all kinds of how to.
Yes. And while you're exploring, some of those work weeks, while we're on that topic, I know some firms, have been tried for several years, for many years, have been doing like half day on Fridays during the summer, or every other Friday, and rotating team members. I know the 4-day work week is getting a lot of conversation right now. Should we just take Fridays off? No meeting Fridays. So if you want to work, I can have focus time. We've been trying to put focus time on our calendars. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's at least we're paying attention to it and we can schedule it and get some work done during the day. So, just looking at, what kind of flexible work week could we be exploring or trying? And again, it could be individual based. It could be as a team. It could be as a firm. Summer seems to be a good time for most groups. But again, that's not always inclusive either, because there's some groups that does not work for. We do half day Fridays, or we do Fridays off. And then it's like, except for you, or except for our receptionist, or except for, and so we have to look and say, how do we make that work and, be flexible, But when we start saying it's one size fits one, I think that makes it easier to do that. So those are some other things I think we're seeing, firms, some have success with, and some exploring some new ways to approach it.
Yes. And, each year we conduct or every other year, a biannual survey called the Anytime, Anywhere Work Survey. We've been doing it. It's in its, I think, fifth or sixth edition coming up. And we've been studying these flexible work practices, like Tamara mentioned, and Fridays off in summer, or half-day Fridays, or some firms like a governmental firm or a firm focusing on governmental and not-for-profit, their half days would be in or half-day Fridays, or full days off on Fridays would be like February or March or something. So it's different, right? It doesn't have to be summer. But that has been a growing trend, certainly. And we're hearing a lot in business and industry about this 4-day work week. And other countries already there, voting it in, making it happen. We talked about that last week also. And so, I just think that, again, that doesn't necessarily mean we're just going to work 4 12s or something, or 4 14s. It just means we're not scheduling stuff on that day, and you can count on having a lot of flex, to do what you need to do on that day, and that it provides a healthier lifestyle maybe for all of us, a less boxed in scheduled lifestyle, maybe less stress, perhaps, so we'll have to see. I've certainly been toying with the idea, of how we could practice something like that at Convergence Coaching, and we'll talk more about that, Tamara and I, and others on the team as we go, but just to figure out how to not make it such a structured 5 days, because it's so hard to get your real day job done when you're constantly scheduled. And that's what we're seeing people do. Not just us, but everybody's doing that. They're just meeting all week long, and then they're doing their work at nights and on the weekends, and man, that's not sustainable. So anyway, it's something for us all to take a hard look at.
Yep.
Tamara, what about unlimited PTO?
I was just going to go there. I said, so if we're going to work on how we make it sustainable and how we can, bear our jobs, PTO is important for us to consider. So yes. And so unlimited PTO, we've been unlimited PTO since our inception 22 years ago. And, it really is about that, again, that flexibility to take time off when you need it. And so that can be a week to go to Puerto Rico, which I just came back from, or you have a graduation coming up, Jen, and some time off that week to celebrate and, plan for all the activities that are going to surround your daughter's graduation. We've both had weddings recently, but then also the little things like I have a dentist appointment, or I have a doctor's appointment, or I need to take the dog to the vet. All those things that, interfere, instead of having to track PTO and then, okay, I have to, take an hour of PTO to go to the dentist, but then I'm staying 2 hours extra on Thursday. And that's just crazy. We talk about we're in a professional services firm with, accountants and, consultants. How can we just be clear about what the expectations are of the work that needs to get done, the clients that need to get served, the projects that need to get completed, and then let's manage the time off. And we still want to get it approved and communicate it, because it does need to be workable for the team. We tell our immediate supervisor, and then anybody else is going to be impacted by my job. This is when I'm planning on taking off. Do you see any problems with it? I go look first. So we're communicating about it. We're transparent about it. We're not just, making it up and just saying, I don't feel like coming in, or I'm just going to take this week off and put it on my calendar and not tell anybody about it. It's not about that. It really is about just the flexibility of saying, how do we manage, the time off that we need? And I think the risk that we've been seeing for firms that have adopted this is people don't take time. So they have to actually mandate, you have to take a full week off, or, we have to make sure that you take so much time off each quarter, because it's not happening. And so the opposite of what you might fear is actually occurring. And so we have to make it, this is how we are working, and support it and make it available to take times off. We can't say we have open PTO, but you can't take time off, or I need you, or the client deadline, or we said yes to this, because then people don't take it off. And then it feels like I don't really have vacation. Now, I think that happens whether we have tracked PTO or not, but it seems to be happening. The trend, as we're reading and learning about it seems to be happening more. With unlimited PTO, people don't feel like I can really take it. I think part of that's just the volume that we've had the last several years. It's been a challenge. And then we didn't feel like going anywhere for a year and a half. And now everybody wants to, kind of free up and start traveling again. But that flexibility, I think, really can empower, people and teams.
Yes. So, I mean, I would never trade unlimited PTO or our open PTO policy that we have ever. First of all, I don't want to get in the vacation approval business or the forms and the tracking and the nickel and diming.
Right.
That's really where we saw it was, somebody's working tons of hours for a project in 1 week and the next week has a 2-hour dentist appointment and you're going to go up to them and say, take 2 hours of PTO for that dentist appointment. No, we just didn't want to do that. And so, I would tell you that the one distinguishing factor, besides really clear expectations in writing, that's number one. But the second most important factor in unlimited or open PTO being successful is your people having a sense of ownership over the things that they're shepherding for your organization. And they can't do that if they're not clear what those things are. So it has to be really clear what's on their list of the things they own and are responsible for, and who their backup is,
Right.
And if they don't have a backup, their job is to cross-train a backup, because you've got to have a backup. And then just people acting as owners, really caring about it. And you could say, well, Jen and Tamara, that's not practical. You're never going to have 100% ownerly people, and you can in a smaller firm, but you can't in a bigger firm. Well, you'll always have pockets of some disengagement, clearly. We shouldn't accept as much maybe as a Gallup poll might say, you just shouldn't accept that much. You can create engagement, motivation, inspiration. You can cause your people to care about what they own and are responsible to shepherd. You can empower them, and then they'll make sure it is taken care of while they are off.
Right.
We're experiencing that right now as one of our most ownerly people, perhaps the most ownerly person on our team, is about to go out and have her second child. And we are getting ready to live life without her for 10 weeks or so. And that is scary, but we've done it before. We did it the first time. And she's so incredible that she's, created incredible redundancy systems and such specificity as she has worked hard to, prepare for the handoff. And right now she's operating in parallel because she's going to have that baby any day now. We're into March tomorrow. We're going to get to March, and then baby's going to come in the first, couple weeks of March, I think. So, or even the first few days. And, but right now she's got everything. Well, she's got everything going in parallel, period. She really does. So now she's got someone else doing it, and she's kind of back checking and pitching in and helping, but she's not driving the things because she wanted to prepare in case she went early. And so, your people will make this happen and make it work if they understand what's expected, and they also feel empowered and engaged and trusted. And so, while we're on the subject, we'll cover quickly just to touch base. And then I think, Tamara, we probably have to carry this into a future HR huddle. Parental leave.
Yes.
We have to figure out parental leave, folks. So, Tamara, do you want to say a couple words on that and then bring it home?
Yeah. So one of the things that we've been seeing, and maybe some of your firms have been working on this, is, not only maternity leave, and expanding maternity leave. That's the first thing. But then also offering paternity leave. And then we have adoption and other kind of, parenting leave. And so how do we create, a policy and program that is more inclusive, that can cover these, major life events for people, and, have it be workable, for the firm, have it support the employee when they come back. They will be ready to go. I know it's still hard, to leave a baby or leave a new child, or, that does not go away. But, the ability to take that time and really be with the time, and what Jen was just talking about with that ownership, handing that off and knowing we've got her work baby. will make her be able to relax and enjoy her new baby and her 2-year-old daughter. And so that is a huge gift that we can give her. And then when she comes back, she'll be re-energized and she'll be like, okay, my baby grew up. I don't recognize it anymore. What did you do to this baby over here in the corner?
Yeah, it won't be as perfect as if she were doing it herself, but we will do a really, really
right.
careful job of
Exactly.
shepherding her things. That's for sure.
So we really do. If you have not looked at your parental leave programs, that is probably something to be looking at in 2022. And we have, some examples. We know what some firms are doing. So if you have questions about that, we're happy to answer, give you some ideas, maybe some minimums. But that is just definitely something if you have not touched or we have not looked at. Or we're kind of piecemealing it, which I know when we don't have one, that's what we have to do until we get a program in place. So that's something to look at for 2022 is what are we doing for our parental leave, programs. So I'm sure there's more we could add to this list, but we will stop for today and look forward to being back with you next week. Have a great week. Happy last day of February. Enjoy February 28th. And we hope March comes in smoothly for you. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you so much.